Good morning, everyone. We're just going to wait a little bit more and then get started. Thank you so much for making it here today. I understand it's a Sunday morning. It's been a lovely morning. Let's just wait another minute or two and then we'll get started.
We are on live now.
All right. I'd just like to request everybody to please keep your cameras off. But that way, otherwise, it's going to end up showing in the stream as well. So we'd appreciate if you could keep yourself mute and keep your cameras off. If there is any question, you can raise your hand or just type it in the chat box, and we will make sure that we answer all your questions. Just another minute, and then we will get started. Hi Nicola, I just made a request that if everybody could keep their cameras off, that would help with the live stream. We're live. We just want to make sure that, we focus on our main coaches today. Thank you so much. Lovely. I think let's get started, everybody. Thank you for joining in. I see a lot of people have joined in. Uh, just another request, please keep your cameras off, and that way it's going to help us make sure that our relevant coaches are being live streamed. And if you have any questions, please go ahead, raise your hand or type in the chat box and we'll take it from there. So our today's topic, the theme that we have today is trauma-informed coaching and child adolescent development and parenting coaching. We have two amazing powerhouses with us today. No matter how I introduce them, it's very little. It doesn't do justice to their introduction. First on and foremost, we have Lux Hetedura. She's a parenting and child development specialist with over 15 years of experience supporting children and families. Her work integrates development science, relational systems, trauma-informed care, and psychosomatic approaches. She holds a BA in early childhood education. She's a PCC through ICF and has advanced training in child development and mental health, including certifications in children's behavior and mental health through Stanford Medicine. She's currently pursuing an MSc in counseling psychology. But most importantly, for today's session, she is a creator of the Child Adolescent Development and Parenting Coaching Program, which is the world's first ever ICF accredited program within its niche. Wow. And the program reflects a commitment to supporting coaches, parents, and practitioners in understanding child and adolescent development through a coaching informed, relational, and developmentally sensitive lens. A very warm welcome, Lux. Thank you for joining us today.
Sawadee. Thank you, Sundas, for such a wonderful introduction. I feel very humbled and grateful. Hello, everyone. Welcome all of you. Good morning. Thank you for joining us right on time. And I would like to take this moment to thank ICF Bangkok chapter for organizing this timely conversation. So without a further ado, allow me to share my presentation to maximize the time. I'm looking forward to have this conversation with you, knowing that all of you are here with great intention to learn more about how children develop and how we can use power of coaching in creating this deeply meaningful transformation. So welcome to Ignite Global. My name is Lux Hetedura from Ignite Global. We are 360 global coach education specialization provider. I will not be introducing our organization too much if you, as you are already aware, some of you. So welcome to our conversation today in collaboration with ICF Bangkok chapter as we are celebrating International Coaching Week. So all our professional coaches from Bangkok and around the world, I wish you a very happy International Coaching Week. My name is Lux Hetedura. I will not introduce myself any further as Sundas already provided you with a comprehensive introduction of myself. So today we have a very interesting topic as I mentioned earlier, a timely conversation where we can use the power of coaching. As we are all professional coaches, we know the power coaching skills hold. So going beyond just traditional approach to the developing brain and parenting, I think it's the most important job that we undertake as a human being in this lifetime. So discussing how can we use these powerful coaching skills in cultivating a more healthy, more informed, developmentally informed approach when we interact with children, adolescents, and family systems at large. With that, colleagues, I would like to gently remind you that this topic covers certain childhood adversities, family dysfunction, and parenting, child development related topics. I will not go too deep into any of these topics as we have limited time. However, if you are a sensitive person and if you feel that there could be any emotional responses may activate, please take care of yourself and do what is necessary. So with that, I would like to begin our conversation today with several examples that I have encountered as a mentor. When I mentor my mentees, our professional coaches, I hear very often they say things like this, especially as they work with children, adolescents, and family systems. So there was this time one of my mentees said, I'm not really sure how to handle it when a minor client shares something sensitive and it might need to disclose to their parents. And I feel like it's tightrope walk, challenging situation. And then I also have heard our professional coaches operating with general coaching skills with developmental area often say that smart goal setting approach doesn't work with children because they don't really understand how to go through this complicated process. And then there was several times I have had situations where our professional coaches have mentioned that a certain way of speaking, like for example, I told my client I understand them, and then they seem to be very annoyed, and as they did not disbelieve me. So sometimes when I speak with my clients, I feel like I'm not fully sincere because I feel like I do not speak in the language that they understand me. Also, there had been situations where our professional coaches have mentioned that they struggle to provide feedback in a coaching engagement to minor clients, even parenting clients, without triggering them, without it coming sounding judgmental or you are criticizing them. I also have had many concerns. Our professional coaches often share that I always get stuck in the parents' reactivity. It's always the same problem, no matter how many times they discuss the same topic. And on the other hand, I also have had coaches working with children. They have mentioned that it's always the behavior, but it seems like I can never push through this behavioral challenge. It keeps on coming back. And then there had been situations, our professional coaches mentioned that sometimes when the client start to speak something deeply personal, especially when it's a minor, I'm not really sure how to handle it. I don't know how far I should go, how I can go there. So I believe that colleagues, if you are working with children, adolescents in not just in a professional coaching environment, but whether you are an educator or you provide some other type of developmental work, or you are a parent yourself, I believe that one way or the other, you have been in these situations, or you may have known someone who might be struggling with these situations. Now, as professional coaches, according to ICF standards, we know that our standard body provides us with a great competency, includes 8 core competencies, and I know that all of you are very fluent in very mature in your coaching competency. That's why you create great transformation in your clients. At the same time, colleagues, I want to bring your attention to something critical here. If you look at our model, our coaching model, although it's extremely powerful, you understand that this model is developed for the developed brain. It's a model that designed for the developed brain. As you can see, that it includes complex cognitive, reflective processes that engage our prefrontal cortex, our limbic system, our somatic awareness. Now, something that we need to understand is, as we work with the developing brain, children and adolescents haven't developed these critical human skills that is required for typical adult-centric coaching framework. Let's explore that. So this is why we are going to now look at the critical differences between coaching adults and coaching minors. And this is something every professional coach must understand if you are working with the developing brain, parents, and complex family systems. Now, before we understand the differences, it's important to understand the hidden depth of child development. Like Sundas mentioned, I started my career a long time ago, not necessarily as a professional coach. I started my career as an educator. I had great passion for education. The reason is I was one of those children back in the days that I struggled with studies so much. Going to school was the most painful thing that I experienced in my life. And I would wake up in the morning, I would come up with a headache or one way or the other, I will try not to go to school. And also, even at school, I struggled to focus, to pay attention, to socialize, to make friends, to be like a normal neurotypical child, how they would behave in a school setting. Now as an adult, understanding child mental health and behavior, now when I look back, I see that there were no developmental challenges or disabilities. At the same time, there were lots of things were going beneath the surface that unfortunately neither my parents nor the educators or the adults in general was able to identify. So as a result, at the age of 16, that was the very first time I attempted to commit suicide, because there had been lots of emotional, psychological pressures had been built on. And at the age of 16, I was diagnosed with clinical depression. And you could imagine from that moment onwards, especially once you're diagnosed, moving through life, life is already hard, but having to live life with a mental health condition like that started in your childhood was extra challenging for me. And this is where my passion for education came. So I became an educator. I followed the traditional path. And the moment I became an educator, I started noticing something terrifying. I saw children, adolescents battling invisible fights. They were fighting invisible battles just like me that we had no aware of. And I also very soon understood that with this traditional way of approaching to child development is not going to create the transformation I was looking to create. And this is where the passion came to be, and that it developed and to this point. So when we look at the hidden depths, colleagues, we must see the two sides of it. So often what we see is the tip of the iceberg. So when a parent comes to you or as you associate children, you may observe academic challenges, disciplinary problems, behavioral management, so seemingly misbehavior or problematic behavior in children, attitude-related problems like, oh, this child is lazy, this child is disrespectful, this child is unmotivated, those kind of problems. Peer issues, not being able to make friends, not being able to maintain friends, bullying, lots of issues like that. Managing outbursts, especially if you're a parent, you know that sometimes your child can be the calmest person, And then the next minute, your child is having an outburst that you don't know where it came from. The same way, communication challenges. So these are just very brief common problems that you may encounter in children, adolescents when you work with them. But what is beneath? Where do they come from? What do we not see? That's the real question. Often, there are emotional safety, psychological well-being issues, developmental milestones, family dynamics, home environment, trauma. My colleague Fernanda will be talking about this topic in the next session, how trauma can impact the entire developmental process altogether. Identity development and sense of self, attachment and relational patterns, which we will look at briefly today. Also, the nervous system regulation and physical changes. We know that children, adolescents, they go, especially preteens and teenagers, they are going through a physical transformation. Often I hear that our professionals say working with an adolescent is like working with a walking, talking hormone, which is, I think, very true, because they go through that developmental process, not just psychologically, but also physiologically. Now, with everything that we shared in mind, colleagues, when we designed this framework, this specialization, we had one thing only in our mind on top of every other developmental aspect that we must consider. At Ignite Global, at large, we look at human development and especially children as wholesome process. We believe that every child is whole and complete, even a tiny little newborn. What do I mean by that? You are not surprised when you see this acorn becoming an oak tree. We don't question that, do we? We don't ever question that. We know that when it's planted in the right environment, it just naturally grows. Why is that? No one told the seed how to do it, what to do. The seed carries that inherent wisdom, knowledge, and potential to start so small as a tiny little seed, but it has all the potential to become that magnificent oak tree. And at Ignite Global, with this specialization, we look at children and their development just like that. We believe even those who say that this is the most problematic child that you have ever met, we still look at that child's magnificent potential beyond that problematic behavior that everyone is pointing out. That's where we truly begin the transformation. So with that, colleagues, I want to bring your attention to something tangible, because this is not something that only I talk about or Ignite Global taking a pioneer in changing this transformation. Right now, around the world, there are movements happening, because we often see more towards negative news. We don't often see these kind of positive actions, proactive actions being taken by the world leaders, right? We also often talk about how chaotic the world leaders are, how bad the world is right now. But also, colleagues, there is on the other side, there is hope. There are world leaders who actually proactively taking actions to create a transformation. So as you know, this is Princess of Wales, and she launched Shaping Us campaign in 2023, founded by the Royal Foundation for Centre for Early Childhood. And this campaign released some eye-opening data. This is just only in the UK. And according to Shaping Us campaign, they found that only around 1 in 3 individuals, which is only about 36% of adults in general, knew little bit about how children develop in their early childhood. Now, why am I pointing this out here? It is concerning, it is alarming, colleagues, because look at how small the percentage is. And the rest of the population, that means we are uninformed. And this uninformed population include parents, educators, professionals, just like you and I, working with children, and anyone who literally has an interaction with an adult. It can be a nanny, it can be anyone who operates in a child's developmental environment. Imagine if it's just in UK, if we pay attention to the global data, how alarming that would be. Now, given that we are looking at, there is a huge gap in understanding how children and our developing brain actually work. Now, why this is so concerning? When we say child development, we often look at that as, oh, just another topic. It's some child development topic, some educator or a child psychologist or someone work with children should know. Child development is a topic that we must learn in schools. We all should learn. Why is that? When we look at child development, do you know anyone who is an adult who was not a child before they became an adult? You don't, right? Although, colleagues, in reality, sometimes we act as we were born just yesterday. But the truth is, we had a childhood. We were a child at some point and we grew up through that process. That mattered. What happened to us as children mattered. So when we say child development, we are not looking at some other boring topic. Child development is really how human beings develop at early stage of our life. And this is a crucial topic that we all must understand, including how families work. Because think about it, you might be working with a CEO, you might be working with a world leader, but that world leader, that CEO, that educator used to be a child. They had a developing brain that led them there. So it does matter. And this is why, colleagues, it's important for us to understand, if we are especially operating at a coaching environment with children and adolescents, we must understand the differences between coaching adults and coaching the developing brain. So I'm going to briefly share with you very few key differences. So when we coach adults, we know that brain structure for regulation, reflection, and decision making are largely developed. So we don't have to worry about the developmental status of an adult. You never stop and think, oh, which developmental stage is this adult is in, because they are already developed. But when you work with children, their brain system altogether is still developing. Their brain architecture is still constructing as we are engaging with them. So they do not have all the brain power or the skills to be able to engage with you like an adult would do. The role of insight. Because of the brain development, adults are able to come up with deeper, comprehensive insights and cultivate their own awareness, whereas for children, it's not the same. For them, regulation and safety needs to come first before they get to that insight, meaning before they engage their prefrontal cortex, there are other parts of their system that needs to be engaged to be able to get them to a safer state so that they can engage in those reflective processes. Self-regulation capacity. As an adult, we expect a healthy, typical adult to have a regulated nervous system. Not always the case, but we know that we don't have to worry about that from a developmental perspective. But of course, when you work with a child, what does this mean? Every child, every minor entirely depend on the adult to co-regulate, to feel calm and safe, because they do not have the nervous system capacity yet to do it by themselves. Goal orientation. When we look at the goals, we know that they are independent goals, performance outcomes oriented. They have invested to be with you, so they will make sure they achieve their goals. But with minor clients, it's not the same. The minor clients do not have the same capacity to reflect on goals, establish their own goals. They don't have the emotional literacy or the communication language to articulate the goals that they want to achieve. Use of language. Adult brain is more capable of abstract thinking, verbal reflection, and metacognition. You know, this is the most powerful skill that make human life intelligent. Metacognition, our ability to think about thinking. For children, these are abilities that exist, but they are yet not fully aware of it. So it's our responsibility to cultivate those skills as we make them go through these developmental processes. Next one, system involvement. Now, when we look at adult clients, they may include external systems if necessary, but they are in charge. They have agency. They have autonomy to decide what they want to do. But children, they do not exist in isolation. So the family systems, schools, that all the systems around them is actually influencing how they develop. Application of coaching framework, like I said, it's direct and explicit because we are working with the developed cognitive brain. At the same time, this developmental translation of framework needs to be very thoroughly evaluated, aligning it to the developmental stage of the child, because the work that we do, the style with children will be completely different. We need to be more creative, play-based, story, movement, action. We need to bring that kinesthetic learning aspects into coaching and engagements with children, because they just cannot make sense of the world or themselves the same way an adult brain do. Autonomy and consent, you know that adult clients have fully rights, consent, and so on. But when it comes to ethic and power dynamics with adult clients, we know that children already look up to you. They already give you the power position. They believe that everything come out of your mouth is the right thing. So they already give you that power, and therefore, as a person, as a professional working with minors, your understanding of ethics, if you think, I believe that you are thoroughly aware of our ICF ethical guidelines. But when you work with a minor, you need much more complicated, stronger ethics, ethical frameworks, to the point that you even need to be aware of child protection laws, crisis management protocols, these kind of things, because you are working with the unpredictable brain. You never know when a child will have a tantrum, when there will be some abuse or trauma will surface, and you never know, working with a minor, how that can backfire if the consent and ethical foundations are not in place. So these are some very basic, also quite obvious differences between coaching adults and coaching minors. But I wanted to show you some things that we can resonate on top of our mind. But please know, colleagues, there are so many intricate, complex differences, subtle differences between coaching adults and minors. And I hope throughout our conversation today, I will be able to shed light on those. So as you can now understand at least a little bit, when you look at the typical coaching and coaching minors, adolescents, parents, and families, you understand you are no longer just a general life coach or just a general coach. You are operating at developmental area. Therefore, this is developmental coaching. And this is why it requires a specialized approach, especially as we go through the process. You will see the brain structure, the parenting dynamics, how they play a role. And if you are not informed, if you are still trying to operate with just general coaching skills, you will see why our professional, despite their credentials, despite their experiences, why they are stuck, why their transformation is stuck in reactivity and behavior management. So as we look at this framework, I'm going to show you it in 3 core elements. So the very first one we are going to look at today is the parent, the second, the child, and we will also look at the family ecosystem. These are 3 things that we cannot overlook when we operate in developmental coaching specialization. So let's look at the parent. Now, as we go into the exploring the parent, I want to share this little story with you. I found this online, so take it as it resonates, right? So there was a little girl and she saw her mom cooking a fish. She saw her mom cut the head and the tail of the fish, and the girl likes to eat the head of the fish. So the girl went to the mom and said, "Mommy, why did you cut the head and the tail of the fish?" And mom looked at the girl and she said, "Well, honey, I don't know. I learned this recipe from your grandmother. This is how she did it. Why don't you go ask her?" So the little girl went to her grandmother and asked the same question. And the grandmother gave the exact same answer. She said, "This is a recipe I also learned from my mother, which is your great grandmother. This is a family recipe. If you want the answer, she's the one who knows this." As you know, children are very curious. Until they are satisfied, they are going to explore why. So she went to the great grandma and she asked, "Great grandma, why did you cut the head and the tail of the fish when you made this recipe?" Great grandma had a big laugh. She had a big, beautiful smile on her face. She gave the little girl a cuddle and she said, "Oh, honey, it's because back in my day, I only had a very small pan and I couldn't afford a bigger pan at the time. So the only way I could cook this fish is getting rid of the head and the tail." Now, if you're wondering, okay, how is this relevant to what we are discussing? Colleagues, take a step back and look at what just happened. Just like that, 3 generations cooked the fish the same way because no one questioned it. No one took time to question it. And we are all like that. We are all programmed. We are all conditioned in certain ways that we do not often know why we do certain things. And parenting is exactly like that. Now, how this recipe was passed down from generation to generation, would you agree with me that if I told you that how we parent our children, our parenting approaches, how we show up to our children are largely, greatly influenced and shaped by the previous generation came before us. We learn to parent, you learn to parent from your parent learned from their. That's how it was passed down. And now the problem is no one is actually, unless we are conscious and intentional, we take a step back and we ask ourselves, okay, this was passed down to me, but why am I behaving the same way with my child? Where did I learn to parent? When you think about it, when someone become a parent, we don't go to parenting school. We don't when you become a doctor, you need several years and years of experience, knowledge, practice to become a doctor, because you know that you are undertaking a very responsible job that literally it's a matter of life and death for in some cases. Now, why is it any different when it comes to raising a child, raising a whole human brain into a grown adult who is going to have to live for the rest of their life in this world? Now, this is where, colleagues, I want to bring your parenting style. This is one of the largest blind spots in parenting styles. I know on Instagram, if you follow these, your algorithm might be pushing you this kind of content. But do you really know what parenting styles are? Where do they come from? How are they formed? And most importantly, when you coach a parent, how is that impacting the development of their child? You might be working just with the parent. You might not be working with the child at the moment, but think about it. When you coach a parent on a developmental topic, or any topic to that matter, what happens to that parent? They go back home, and that conversation, that goal they established with you is going to impact their child, their developing brain. So do you see now, although you work with just the parent, you are still keeping the child's developing brain in the center, because there is no difference. There is no separation between the two. So when I work with professional coaches, especially those who are operating with typical coaching skills and trying to work with family systems, often I hear they struggle in this area because there are certain behavior patterns that they are not able to identify what that happens. So this is why, colleagues, parenting styles is one of the very first things when you work with a family system you need to understand. Now, think about, why do we parent? When you come to think of it, human beings are biologically wired for survival and reproduction. We are here on this planet to reproduce. That's why often we have children. So that means caregiving is part of our evolutionary design. This is why when we come to certain age, no one actually even need to tell us. It's a different story that, of course, there is a lot of social pressure when it comes to having a child. But at the same time, we also have a biological tick that tells us, oh, I need to have a child now. Why is that? Because we are evolutionarily, biologically wired to reproduce. Caregiving is encoded in our system. So we all agree that we landed on the planet just like this, one way or the other, right? Very helpless, no skills, no regulatory awareness, no emotional awareness whatsoever. We landed like this. So if I ask you, what is the most fundamental, basic need of this little newborn? And when I often ask this question, I hear our colleagues say safety, food, shelter, love, care, warmth, all that, which is very true. But would you agree, this little newborn cannot be met with any of those needs if there is no connection? So would you now agree that connection is the most important, the primary need of a human being? Because no connection means, to this newborn, is abandonment, physical abandonment. And what would physical abandonment would mean when you are here? Death. That's what it means. So our system is created in a certain way that we are hardwired to seek connection, because connection is what ensures our survival when we are so helpless like this. So this is why having an attuned, regulated caregiving presence is crucial, because as a newborn, as children, as adolescents, our survival entirely depends on a caregiver. So this is why we must understand another element, another aspect of crucial aspect of child development, which is attachment. The child-parent connection. So if we look at the attachment from developmental psychology perspective, this was introduced by a British psychiatrist, John Bowlby, and it was developed through many decades. And attachment, one could do a PhD on attachment. I'm going to show you just only one slide because we only have limited time today. But our attachment system is encoded into our nervous system, and this is what its attachment is not a philosophical, romanticized, just some concept. Attachment is neurobiology. It's encoded into your system and it activates in states of threat, danger, stress to seek connection. Because only if we reached out for connection, we ensure our survival when we are so helpless. Now, the interesting thing about our attachment system is it doesn't disappear when you become an adult. After 18, our system doesn't say, oh, now I'm an adult, now I do not need, now I'm independent. It doesn't say that. What does the brain do? Our system does is that it repurposes all that attachment, relational, neural connections in adulthood to develop new relationships, be it platonic, be it romantic, be it professional. We use that very same attachment system as adults to create new relationships. So if you have relational challenges as an adult, like for example, say in romantic world, if you are attracted to emotionally unavailable partners, if you are attracted to or let's say when someone get close to you, you become uncomfortable and therefore you run away from that person, or you do something to self-sabotage your relationship, the chances are you see the pattern, you are frustrated with the behavior, but you can't put your finger on why this is happening, where this pattern keep repeating, because it's in your early relational attachment development. And this is why this shows up when a parent their child, because their children obviously is going to activate, trigger certain attachment wounds that the parent had within their parental system. And this is why, as a developmental coach, you need to be able to identify, interpret when certain attachment wounds, when certain attachment insecurities in a parent shows up, because we know that that insecurity is going to be projected towards their child. Very dangerous. So when we look at attachment, like I said, it's not optional. Caregiving is not optional. Think about it. No parent can say, oh, I don't feel like being a parent today, I'm going to take a break. No. When you are a parent, if once a parent, always a parent, even the absence of the child, it's foundational. So we don't just raise bodies, we also raise a human mind, emotions, identities, and a nervous system behind. So if I ask you now, what shapes a child's life, their brain development, you may see it's shaped by the caregiver awareness, how conscious a parent is. Emotional attunement. Now, when we say caregiver awareness, if you have heard, especially if you're a trauma-informed coach or a therapist, you may see that when clients talk about their developmental trauma, especially caregiving, wounding, they say, oh, I forgive my parent because I know that they didn't know any better. That's what I'm talking about, colleagues. Because some of those generational of parents didn't know any better. They were not informed. They were not aware. They were not fully conscious in how they were parenting. They passed a lot of wisdom, true, but they also passed a lot of wounding and unhealthy dynamics, approaches in parenting. And this is why being informed is crucial. Emotional attunement, regulation capacity, knowledge, understanding, and skills. Parenting is not something we can think, oh, I'm going to swing it. We can't swing when it comes to parenting. We need skills. Just like you will not just become a ballerina one day, wake up and think, oh, today I feel like becoming a ballerina. I'm going to be, we can't do that. We know that. We need the muscle training. We need the posture training. We need lots of steps before someone get on the stage. Skills. Same goes for parenting and intentional parenting choices. This is what most of the time professional coaches can do, helping clients to look at the blind spots and help them make different parental choices. So now I hope you understand, colleagues, that the quality of a child's from conception to adulthood is deeply, profoundly influenced by the internal world of the caregiver, how they show up to that child, to the world, and to themselves. So I'm going to show you the parenting styles. A parenting style is it's basically the emotional climate and the patterns of behavior that parents use to raise their children. This includes how they talk, how they participate in their life, everything. Literally, the parent-child interaction is a parenting style. Now, there are two core domains of parenting style. One is demandingness, control, and expectation, because we know that children are not able to make their own decisions because they have less brain capacity. So this is why, as a parent, we need to be the authoritative figure and we need to have expectations, boundaries, and demands for our children, provide a supervision. And at the same time, we also need responsiveness, warmth, and attunement. We can't just have demands and without any connection. So parents need to be able to balance their demandingness, the supervision, the authoritative element with warmth, attunement, emotional connection, and so on. That's when it becomes balance. So when we combine these two domains, we create 4 different main parenting styles categories. So as you see, there is high demand, and then there is low demand, and then the vertical, and then the horizontal, you see low responses and high responsiveness. So when we combine high demandingness and low responsiveness, very high demands, very high expectations, and very low responsiveness, very little connection with a child, we are looking at authoritarian parenting style, very regiment style, my way or the highway. Conversation is one-sided. You do it because I said so. Very strict rules and no conversation or no space for child's voice to be heard whatsoever. Then we combine high or healthy demandingness and high responsiveness. There are high demands, but there is also connection. Now we are looking at authoritative parenting style. They are more balanced. They know that it's important for my child to have rules and boundaries, but it's also important that I show my child I am here, I'm connected to them. So it's balanced. And when we connect low responsiveness and low demandingness, we create neglectful parenting styles. And according to modern psychology, especially developmental psychology, neglectful parenting style is the most harming and damaging parenting style, because this is mostly leads to deep trauma. So neglectful parenting style is where the parent is not involved in the child's life. There are no demands. There are also no responsiveness, no connection at all. So the child doesn't know what to do, where to go. Often children are parentified in situations like this. This is why I said this is direct route path to childhood trauma. And then we look at high responsiveness and low demandingness. So lot of love, lot of connection, lot of warmth. I love you. I'll do everything for you. But no expectations from the child, for the child. So the child do whatever they want. And we are looking at permissive parents, meaning that the role is reversed. The child acts as the parent acts as the child, because the parent doesn't want to hurt the child's feeling. You may have seen these dimensions when you work with parents, and they show up subtle, big, in all aspects. It shows up. Now, one of the things that we need to understand, colleagues, that these parenting styles are not just driven just like that. They often have root causes in their nervous system, which I'm not going to look at our nervous system today, because that's another topic for another day. In fact, I have conducted a recent masterclass for our Ignite community, specifically discussing how parenting styles show up through the nervous system. So as you can see, our nervous system goes into 3 different states. And ventral vagal. If you are aware of polyvagal theory, this is the polyvagal chart. So we understand our nervous system is like a seesaw, autonomic nervous system. And we have a state where our baseline, we are regulated, calm, curious, rest and digest. We are in a normal state that we can socially engage. And then we have the state where our system goes to sympathetic, which is fight and flight. It seeks us to operate in certain ways because our system identifies certain responses externally that it prepares our body to act in certain ways. So we may be more active, hyperactive, maybe anxious, reactive, can't rest, these kind of things. And then our system also goes into another state called dorsal vagal, which is our freeze response. This is where we feel disconnected. We can even feel like it's a depressive episode. We feel shame. We are not motivated to do things. So our system goes into different states, and often our parenting styles are influenced by our nervous system responses. So have in mind, it's not just a parent operating just a style. It comes from a very deeper place. Now, as we look at the parents area briefly, very briefly, now I want to bring you to the second important component of the developmental coaching, which is the family ecosystem. All this time we have been looking at the parent, right? Now, would you agree, colleagues? I mean, a parent or a child doesn't exist in isolation. No parent exists in isolation. No child exists in isolation. The parent and child connection is like the two sides of the same coin. You cannot separate these two. Where there is a child, there is a parent involvement. Where there is a parent, there is a child's development going on. Now, when we look at the parent and the child, this unit also doesn't exist in isolation. A parent and a child exist in a much larger web, complex relational web. So this is why I'm looking at this tree. As you're looking at this tree, you may realize that just like how a tree cannot exist without its root system, a child cannot exist just on its own. It needs that entire ecosystem in order for it to thrive, not just survive. So we are looking at the systems in ecology of parenting. Ecology of parenting is another very important, often overlooked psychological model developed by Urie Bronfenbrenner. And I think it's it's a model that not just developmental coaches should follow. Any professional working in human development should understand, because this is truly where we exist. So in system ecology of parenting, we look at 5 different systems: microsystem, mesosystem, exosystem, macrosystem, and chronosystem. I'm going to show you all of them briefly, a brief introduction to each one of them, and you will see how they are intricate. So if I show you a visual representation of the ecology of parenting, it will look like this. So the individual, the child is in the center. And this is what we believe when we design this program. No matter what you do, it's always the developing brain is what is in the center, because even those conversations that you are having with just the parenting client, they are going to go back home, and that conversation is going to impact that child's development. It could be the parent is deciding to take up another job, or they are trying to migrate, or they are discussing about a relational problem. Now, if as a developmental coach, if you did not ask, how did this goal is going to impact the development of your child's brain, your coaching conversation is incomplete, colleagues, because that means we did not take the child's developing brain into consideration. And so as you can see, there are 5 larger systems that exist within us. These are invisible systems that we do not know, that we live through every single day. So what does that mean? So for example, Microsystem. Microsystem means our immediate environment. So in a child's immediate environment has the parents, caregivers, their siblings, their family, close friends, peers, educators, healthcare, everything literally is in a child's or your immediate environment is your microsystem. And everything matters because everyone, every family member, their siblings, their parents, their educators, how they interact with that developing brain is going to model those neural connections. And then we are looking at the mesosystem. Now, the mesosystem is an interesting system because it exists within microsystem. Mesosystem is the relationship between these units in that immediate environment. So, for example, the child and the peer relationships, the parents and the peer relationships, the parents and the educator relationships, the co-parenting relationships between the parents and the sibling relationships, the parents and the, let's say if there are extended family members living in the house, those relationships, the parent and the coach relationship, all these relationships between that internal unit is what we call the mesosystem. So it's not just people existing in your environment, having in mind, they also interact with each other, and that create a whole different system altogether. And then we are looking at the exosystem. This is a very interesting area. Now, this is the area for a child. It doesn't directly impact or influence the child, but it does to a greater deal indirectly. This is the employment of the parent, their workplace, the community they live in, the media and the technology and many other things. Now think about how your life is influenced by your colleagues. Do you know that colleague always celebrate you, that always that you look forward to go to, when you go to work, you're looking forward to see that colleague because you know that you make a great team. Or do you also know that backstabbing colleague? And do you not come home thinking about that and stressing about how you're going to handle this negativity, this toxicity in the workplace? Think about the workload. A parent come home with tremendous deadlines that they don't have the time to engage with their child. What about the community? Some individuals, like for example, in Thailand, we know that there are a larger group of expats. And all those interactions, cultural differences, community, how we operate as a community, influence how the children are developed. And then media and technology. When you look at the media today, colleagues, the social media and all kinds of mass media, we know that it keeps on telling us a way of being. And how is that impacting the influencing the child's developing brain? And then we look at the macro system, which is the social context, the world at large, cultural norms and values, government policies and laws, economic systems, religion, natural disasters, and so on. Like, for example, a government's policies on child development and maternal care can greatly impact. And also, if you look at the world around us today, what the political conflicts happening, all of these influence how we raise our children, how we behave, how our well-being. And then we look at the chronosystem, the last system of the ecology, which is the dimension of time changes occur time. For example, a birth of a child. There is a sibling, there is a child, and then after a few years, there can be a new sibling showing up. And that impact how that child is developing. A divorce of the parents, a death of a family member, relocation, large socio-cultural shifts or environmental change, or it can be like something like pandemic. Now, if we just take pandemic for an example, in 2022, you know that the world went online overnight. The school system collapsed. The traditional school system collapsed. Traditional family systems collapsed because parents were literally forced to stay together, look at their children, look at their family systems, and how unhealthy or how healthy they were. And we also know how we approach education completely changed. We went digital. So all of these things are influencing how we are raising children in this modern generation. And this is why, colleagues, your awareness of these 5 systems are crucial. So what do we do at Ignite Global in our specialization, the child development specialization, especially those colleagues who are working with parents? We have a special model that we have developed. We call it Ignite 360 Panoramic Parenting Vision. You know, at the discovery session in a typical coaching engagement, you have a discovery call, which you help the client to create their bigger picture, the vision, right? You know, before you chunk it to different goals, that's the first thing you do. You help the client to create that bigger vision. Now, do you understand, colleagues, how limited our knowledge and skill set to help a client to develop that kind of 360 vision? Now, this is why this specialization includes a specific model that was developed by us through research and evidence-based approach that we help our professionals to help parents design a panoramic parenting vision, looking at each these systems, so that when they create that parenting vision, they know that it's as aligned as possible. And recently, one of our professional coaches who are going through this specialization, she is going through the level 2 program, meaning that she's automatically part of the parenting coaching part. And she said she delivered the parenting vision model, and she said, "Oh my God, Lux, my client had the worst time." And I was very curious to hear about, so what happened? When she said the worst time, and then she went explaining what happened to her. She said, "My client was so she had these powerful breakthroughs which were very painful for her. She has never seen these dysfunctional dynamics in her system, and for the first time she came to see them, and she was overwhelmed, and she was in this anxiety and fear. And luckily, well, it's not so much of luck. Actually, that's the wrong choice of words. I would say because she is informed, because she also had the skill set to do what to do when those anxieties and insecurities show up from the client, she was able to regulate the client in that moment, and she was able to take that parenting vision into something more transformative, where the client felt relief. So this is why I'm sharing colleagues, when you just show the client their discovery, just a vision, and a real developmental vision model, it's a game changer. Now let's look at the child's development. So how do children develop? This is a crucial, another question that we need to ask. How do children develop? We are looking at the whole child development, and in whole child development, we discussed that children do not just develop in, like I said, in isolation. It includes their developing nervous system, their brain, relationships, body, environment, and so on. And we do not just focus on behavior or performance or academic outcomes alone. We look at all aspects encompassing the child's development. So this is where we look at the biopsychosocial development. It's a model that understands that experiences that an individual go through, 3 different interconnected layers are occurring simultaneously, which is biological, that includes the body and the brain, genetics and biology, the brain's development and nervous system regulation, hormones, sleep, nutrition, illness, and pain. And then we look at psychological development of a child, how they thinking, meaning making, thoughts, emotional regulation occurs. And then the third aspect is the social development, which is the relational and family dynamics, culture, education, how these things are developed in a child. So as you can now see, when we look at the developmental aspects of a child, it includes their neurological development, cognitive development, psychosocial development, which is emotional and social development of a child, and their physical development, their language and literacy development, and their moral development. So, allow me to. So now, colleagues, I hope as we coming to conclude our conversation, as we look at these three different elements that we observed earlier, the parent, the family system, and the child's developing system, would you agree now that if you look at these images on the screen, there is a neurosurgeon and there are two pilots, the pilot and the co-pilot. Would you agree that it took these individuals years and years and years of experience, knowledge, education, mistakes to get to this point in life, to perform, for the neurosurgeon to cut open the brain and to really perform a surgery, a matter of life and death, for a pilot to take off a metal tube across oceans, across the globe, transporting human beings to another, from country to country. That's not a job that we take lightly. Just like the neurosurgeon, these two pilots went through their education and experience to get to that. And they will not just get up and one day decide that they will be in these professions. And child development is exactly like that. If we do not know what we do, we might not be transporting people from across the globe, or we might not be operating people's brains, but we are working with a human being's developing system, just like clay. Every time we touch it, we mold it. And that's why, colleagues, our awareness, our being informed is so important. So, as you know, there are 4 elements in ICF coaching: the goal, awareness, actions, accountability. However, in CADP specialization, apart from those 4 elements, we also need to include child development and parenting education. And this is when it becomes developmental coaching. So as you can see, when you become a developmental coach, not just a professional ICF professional coach, you see that there are deeper developmental areas that we need to tap into, just like what we discussed earlier. So allow me to very briefly walk you through the 5 domains of coaching minors, and that will be the conclusion of our conversation, so that you also know what is this specialization focus on. These are just core 5 domains, colleagues, but there are more complex domains, subdomains that is influenced, our program is influenced by, but I will show you the 5 core domains of our specialization, which is relational foundation. Like I said, the foundation of everything that we do is developmental, meaning attachment based. So the child-parent connection, the attachment system development, the nervous system is taken into consideration as the first. And then we look at the prepared and developmentally responsive environment, which we include different educational modalities here, preparing the environment of the coaching session, knowing that the developing brain requires certain additional skills that goes beyond traditional coaching skills based on those 8 core competencies. And then we look at the child-centered agency and active engagement. How do we promote the child's autonomy? How do we give them engagement while providing that supervision? So meaning managing the demandingness with responsiveness, creating an authoritative coaching environment than authoritarian or a permissive parent coaching style. And then reflective and creative process, which includes so much more than just verbal reflections. It includes movement, it includes play, it includes drama, it includes molding, it includes creativity, kinesthetic learning. The final is the strength-based growth approach. We do not label children. We do not look at the problem. We see where does the problem come from. We address the problem. We do not operate at a behavior or symptom management. We explore where the problem come from so that we can turn that into strength. So as I conclude this conversation, colleagues, I want us to end this conversation with the profound words of Mother Teresa. If you want to change the world, go home and love your family. Think about it. You come from a family. You used to be a child. You might be coaching leaders. You might be coaching professionals. But think about it. They, after those KPIs, after those big meetings, that person goes back to their family. So anyone, that's why anyone who works with a human being needs to be developmentally informed. So with that, I would like to thank all of you for your kind participation, and also for ICF Bangkok chapter for creating this opportunity for this timely discussion, and also for your recognition. It has been wonderful to collaborate with you. Thank you for your attention and participation.
Thank you so much, Lux. That's been such an impactful session, and I mean, it just changed so much perspective. If you're open, we do have a question, a couple of them that we've received. We have someone asking that at what child's age are we talking about? I think I'd just like to rephrase it a bit, that what do you think at what's the most impactful age that we should be considerate of in terms of child's, development?
The most crucial stage is the first 1,000 days of life. So thank you for that question. The most crucial stage of a child's development is the first 1,000 days of life, which is the moment of conception up until age 2. This is where we are born with just 25% of brain capacity, and the rest of the 75% develops. Millions of neural connections occur during the first 1,000 days of life, especially related to attachment and relational wiring, developing sense of self, who you are, sense of others, how trustworthy the world, people around me, and how safe the world around me. We learn all these points at the first 1,000 days of our life, and then there onwards, we also go through different developmental stages, not just any developmental stages. We go through certain types of developmental stage. So I will show you 2 types. One is cognitive development stage. We have 4 types of stages of development when it comes to how the cognitive process develop. And then the emotional and social development. Why is that? Because it includes a different brain region altogether. So social and emotional development, it takes us on 8 different stages. So as just to briefly provide the answer, the most important age, the developmental stage, is the early years.
Lovely. Thank you so much for addressing that. I think just there's one more question, if that's okay.
Of course.
Um, so they're asking that why is understanding child development actually a tool for understanding yourself? From even what I picked up from your session is that I think we're also projecting a lot of our childhood, developmental journeys that we've gone through. So do you think it's a safe way to say that it's a very important tool to understand your inner child, to be able to, understand how you're responding right now?
Absolutely, Sundar. What an important question to address. Thank you, colleague, and also thank you, Sundar, for presenting the question. It's crucial, colleagues, because the reason is whether you are working with an adult or a child, you, like I said, you yourself had a childhood. So when you work with them, you will see yourself through some of those parents. You will see your parents through some of those parents, and you will see yourself through those children that you are working with. And sometimes your own triggers can show up. And if you are not developmentally aware, these can be also, they can backfire. And also, I think Fernando in his next session, especially going towards trauma, he will address how some of these childhood experiences really showing up in our day-to-day life. Like I said earlier, sometimes we see the pattern, we can't put the finger on it because all those uh, the answers to those, the keys to those locked doors are hidden in our childhood.
Thank you so much for answering that. I think that clarifies a lot of things for a lot of people, at least for me as well. It just puts the whole, vision to perspective that it's very equally important to understand where we're headed to, and to understand where we've come from. I think it's a whole journey. Thank you so much. It's been lovely having you, and we look forward to hearing from you in your future sessions. And we love the collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sundas. Thank you, ICF Bangkok chapter, and thank you very much, my dear colleagues. I look forward to seeing you soon again.
Lovely. So we're going to take a quick 5 minute break. Right after the 5 minute break, I mean, I'm just, I'm still processing all that information because it was such a lovely information, such good insights to process. We're going to take 5 quick minutes break, and then right after that, we have an amazing session by one of our amazing speakers. And if you've loved the session by Coach Lux, you would be loving that more as well. So let's take a quick 5 minute break, and I will see you right after that.
1,000 sparks to light, elevating every conversation, elevating every conversation, reaching for the high. From the heart of Bangkok, your journey starts today. Growing better together in every single way. In every single way. One community, 1,000 sparks to light, elevating every conversation, elevating every conversation, reaching for the height. From the heart of Bangkok, your journey starts today. Growing better together in every single way.
Welcome back. Just a quick check-in for all of you who are still available here. Welcome back. I hope you're all ready for the next powerful session that we're getting into. Without wasting any time, I will just, introduce our coach and our speaker. His name is Fernando Hatedura. He's a registered eclectic psychotherapist and an MCC by the ICF with over 2 decades of professional experience supporting individuals and families. His work integrates psychotherapy, coaching science, and some somatic practices. He holds a postgraduate diploma in clinical psychology and MSc in counseling psychology, postgraduate certification in Ayurveda psychology, and has completed medical psychiatry coursework through Harvard Medical School. He's currently a doctoral researcher pursuing a PhD in psychology. Specifically relevant for our session today, Fernando pioneered the comprehensive trauma-informed coaching competency framework through his academic research, offering a structured approach to integrating trauma-informed principles into professional coaching practice. I've been honored to have been one of his students as well, and I think he, as a person as well, as good as a coach he is, he's an amazing human being. And without a further ado, I will hand over the floor to you, Fernando. Such a warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Sundas. What an introduction. I feel very humbled. Hello, colleagues. Hello, ICF Bangkok chapter. I would like to, first of all, thank ICF Bangkok chapter for this wonderful opportunity to share our passion, a life's work with you. And so thank you, ICF Bangkok chapter, for having us today. And also, it is a Sunday morning. You could be doing pretty much anything, but you decided to be in this space and to fulfill your curiosity and develop and grow as a professional coach. It shows how committed you are to this profession, which I call a deep privilege. So with that, let's begin our session today. So as you may have noticed, we are talking about trauma. So it's a topic that usually feels heavy. So before we begin, I would like to invite all of you to bring your attention to yourself, your body. If any part of your body, if there is any kind of tension, any kind of stress, focus on that and pay attention to what that stress might be telling you. And also, as Lux mentioned, as we discuss about trauma-informed coaching, I would like to invite you to not necessarily approach this session with fear. It's quite natural very often when we talk about trauma, adversities, challenges in our life, we tend to make ourselves smaller. We tend to shrink and sometimes feel fearful around it. But I promise to you, today's session is not about how bad trauma is. I'm going to invite you to recognize that truly how trauma informs love. In my exploration, lifelong journey of healing, learning about trauma, and having worked with hundreds of people, I have come to learn that trauma is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, trauma informs love. So, although you notice the topic, trauma informed coaching in all the awareness campaign, the real topic today is how trauma informs love. And also continuing on, very often we reject trauma. Very often we don't want to talk about trauma. And sometimes when we conduct a session like this, hundreds of people join. And then at the moment, we only have perhaps 2/3 of the people who registered. And later I received many messages saying, Fernando, by the time was closer, I felt very scared. I didn't join, right? So I congratulate all of you for being here. And I hope as you walk away from this session today, you will walk away with some valuable insights that would empower you, and it will change. Hopefully, it will give you a new perspective of how you work with clients, and altogether bringing the awareness that trauma truly informs love, and most importantly, trauma as human experience, not something that we need to be fearful of or reject. So that's why I mentioned, if there's any stress in your body, any tension in your body, bring attention to that part of your body, your mind, your emotion, and reassure that this is not about how painful, how bad trauma is. It's truly about how trauma informs love. Having said that, now beyond what looks shared, in my session, I will share some context that could be quite strong, emotionally, mentally strong context as we talk about challenging experiences, adversities, trauma, and similar mental conditions. Therefore, if you are a sensitive person or a highly sensitive person, please engage with caution. Continuing on, feel free to engage with me. I'm going to do a few reflections. Considering the limited time, I would like to keep this as a lecture. At the same time, I would like to invite you to a few reflections. Please engage with me. And if you have any questions like you did during Lux's session, feel free to send those inquiry through the chat messages. You or Sundas can present them to me later if time permits. Continuing on, let's begin with a little bit of a reflection. What are some challenges that your clients have and they persist? For an example, they understand that they need to take actions. They come up with several actions. They create strong accountability. But when they come to the next session and to the next session, session after session, they fail to take actions. Some people are intellectual, spiritual, deeply reflective, but there are certain areas they find it very difficult to find answers. There are certain habits, behaviors they find very difficult to change. No matter how much coaching you would do, no matter how much awareness they would create, they find it difficult to truly break through. There's a difference between the kind of breakthroughs that happen in the coaching session, which we call aha moments, and truly breaking through them and implementing them in real life. That's a different type of breakthrough. So, what are some of the challenges your clients have and persist? Now, I strongly believe as we engage in coaching conversations with our clients, the importance of we walk the talk. So, we also need to ask ourselves then, what are some mental, emotional, and even energetic challenges persisting in you? What are some difficulties that you're experiencing, but you find as a professional coach, you receive coaching, perhaps you are taking other maybe mindful practices, faith-based practices, body-based practices to try and break through, but some still persist. What are those? Just to give you some examples from the coaching industry, you know that many of us are really good coaches. We can create immense value in our clients. And we do a lot of reciprocal coaching. We coach people we know. But sometimes it's difficult for us to truly go out there, share our message, reach out to that organization, reach out to that potential client, open social media, and share your message, why you do coaching, how you do coaching. Some of you intend to create your marketing material, but you find it very difficult. Some of you have the marketing material, but you find it very difficult to put it out there. So we do not even necessarily need to go towards your relational, your personal context. Even within professional context, sometimes we find it a bit challenging. Sometimes it's a bit challenging, and sometimes it is chronically challenging. So I invite you to think about some of those challenges that you are experiencing. And here's a little initially funny video. A funny video, I would say. A cat sees a little cucumber and gets ejected from its place. What do you make out of this? What do you think is happening here? This is one of my very favorite analogies, if not a real situation, when I talk about trauma. And this story not only begins at this moment in this modern kitchen, this story begins hundreds, thousands of years before, when cats were evolving, when they were walking in the jungles, forests, they were bitten by snakes. And some of the cats, unfortunately, passed. And some others were creeping through. They were experiencing this excruciating pain. Somehow they managed to get themselves to safety. And when this happened, something quite magnificent happened in the cat's body. In fact, in cat's deepest parts of the body. So we know that we have consciousness. Often when we say we are conscious, we refer to our cognition, our thinking, connecting brain, thinking brain, cognitive brain. And however, that's just one part of our brain. And I must say that it's a small part of our awareness, our ability to process. Beyond that, we have this universal life energy, consciousness in our body, an intelligence that governs us. Most of it is unconscious. We can't actively recognize that consciousness. We can't actively directly intervene with that consciousness. It could take time. Some of it remains hidden forever. So this very specific consciousness that we have, the universal intelligence that we have within ourselves. At that moment when the cat was going through this excruciating pain, thought, this is very painful for this cat. As this cat is trying to survive, let's think about not only this cat, but also its offsprings, the generations of cats to come. How can I, in this case, I is this universal intelligence thought, how can I store this information in the cat? Next time when they see a snake, it will get itself to safety very quickly. So then this intelligence also knew that in order to not only to safeguard this cat, but also the generations to come, all the offsprings after offsprings, it needs to be stored in a place that the cat could pass it on to the next generation. So obviously we know now that through epigenetics, we know that we pass on our genetics to our children, our offsprings. So do the cats. So when cat is passing on this information to the next generation about this traumatic experience that they experienced, the offsprings are able to be informed that they can be safer than their parents. Now, to the extent, it is not just a conscious thing that is happening to this cat at this moment? But is it distracting as it's keep going on? Okay, let me stop it. Right, so perhaps you come to understand what is happening to the cat is there's an involuntary muscle reflex, the cat being ejected from its place to safety when it notices the shape of the cucumber. Cucumber itself is not necessarily dangerous, but the shape of the cucumber is dangerous because it reminds the cat not necessarily an active experience, but something that is stored in the cat's nervous system through the genetics. Cat somehow unconsciously recalls this memory of the shape of the snake and it gets ejected from its place. If you would like to understand it even more depth, I'd like to say certain cats in North America have never come across any snakes at all for generations. But they too have this exact same muscle reflex. It doesn't even require direct conscious intervention when the cat gets itself to safety. So there you are. Trauma informs love. The deeper intelligence within ourselves is here to safeguard us. When a challenging experience happens to us, as you operate in this hostile environment, our beautiful blue planet, when challenging experiences happen to us, when we are traumatized, in other words, the information that was held helps us when a trigger is present, get ourselves to safety, get ourselves to survival as soon as possible. That's the true intention of trauma. So then they are starting to notice that when we talk about trauma, it truly informs love. And then another important aspect that we should look at is, now that's about cats. How about human beings? Well, these children are the children of Holocaust survivors. And do you know that when you compare the alert responses to stress in life in the children of Holocaust survivors, they remain actively alert for much longer than the individuals, parents who have not been through an experience like Holocaust. It is true during that time that they remain alert for a while than the other people. But what is it really doing, like the cat? It's enabling these children to get them to safety as soon as possible, and it provides a longer period for them to do so. Otherwise, if the activation of this stress is a short period of time, they might not recognize the gravity of adversity or the trauma that they are in. They might become a victim of the moment because their parents have been victims of atrocious trauma. And in fact, Dr. Yehuda found out that it is the alteration of FKBP5 gene. It's a genetic expression. So you are starting to recognize one more time. When we talk about trauma, it truly informs love. It informs safety. It not only thought about you as an individual, but it also thought about your generations to come. So this universal intelligence that governs us truly loves us, truly wants to protect us so that we can continue to experience this magnificent universe. So as we talk about how trauma informs love, I also want to share with you. Now imagine if we all had the best state of mind all the time, best state of excitement, ecstasy all the time, then we will not value that state of being. The reason is we just feel ecstasy and we wouldn't know anything else. Therefore, we have extreme pain. One side of our experience, extreme pain. One side of our experience is extreme love. Love is like loving your child, loving your partner, your favorite food, your favorite experience, having an orgasm. That is love. All of that is love. That is pleasure. So you notice, as human beings, in order for us to make sense of our existence, continue to survive, we need to know, on one hand side, there's pain, and on the other hand side, there is pleasure. And what is important is finding middle grounds. Therefore, having pain and pleasure in our lives is how we experience life. So trauma is part of human experience. It is human construct. It is part of being human. We cannot necessarily separate trauma. We cannot remove trauma from our life and say that it's something that I don't want to look at, because it is an integral part of who we are. So now this conversation goes in the direction of trauma-informed coaching. Why trauma-informed coaching? I'm not going into a competency-based deep discussion today. Learning about trauma-informed coaching takes a while. It could take somewhere between a year to 1.5 years at least to become proficient in working with trauma-informed coaching or trauma integration coaching. It requires a deep knowledge beyond ICF core competency. It requires a deep way of being with the client, holding space in such a compassionate way with the client. Therefore, today is just a very surface level exploration. Now, why trauma-informed coaching? According to World Health Organization, they estimate about 70% of the global population experience potentially at least one traumatic experience in their lifetime. However, some of you might think, Fernando, it's much more than that. Yes, you're right, because genetic trauma, we usually don't remember. The cats in North America don't recall the trauma that their ancestors experienced. Therefore, there are many people who experience challenges having certain conditions like post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, or complex post-traumatic stress disorder, CPTSD. And they don't know why. They have challenges in life. Perhaps they don't even have the specific language for it. CPTSD, PTSD, they might not even know. So they are not counted in this area. And another interesting thing that happens to us when we go through trauma, because certain trauma can be extremely overwhelming. When overwhelming experiences happen to us, it's difficult for our nervous system to cope up with those experiences. So when we are unable to consciously cope up with those experiences, what happens to us is we go into something what we call either freeze response, or we call it flop response. If not, we go into a amnesia. So we don't remember what happened to us. But later on, challenges, difficulties in our mental capacity, spiritual capacity, emotion, even in our body, mostly in our body, start to show up. And often we think our problem is something to do with our body. So we keep going to doctor after doctor, sometimes healer after healer. Some of that can help you, and some of it might not be helped by simple intervention. Like Luke said earlier, unfortunately, our mainstream medical systems are symptom focused, symptom management focused. When we work with trauma, we need to go deeper. We need to work with root causes. So that's why 70% of this statistics actually not accurate. The number is much larger. And also the point is that when we see such a large population of the people of our earth experiencing a difficult, challenging experience in their life, it means it also could include you and myself. It also includes your clients. So although your client thinks that they are healthy, when they come to you, you would not know whether they have a traumatic past. Perhaps they are managing their day-to-day situations. But one of the reasons why certain challenges persist, they might come from a deep-rooted problem rather than just them not being able to strategize or them not being able to reflect. And also, why trauma-informed coaching? Very often I hear coaches do advertising, marketing, and they call it holistic coaching and also sometimes integrative coaching. And I think if you're operating in, let's say, traditional coaching frameworks like ICF or EMCC frameworks, it is not really true. It's not right to say that we deliver holistic coaching. Why? The traditional coaching frameworks only provide the focus here and now to the present, to the future. And if you look at ICF literature, according to ICF coaching competency framework, if I say word by word, literally, ICF says that if the coach operates in the past, primarily, client's emotional past, coach is operating in therapeutic mode. So in other words, you are forbidden to work with the client's past, especially the emotional past. Well, if something comes up, if the client talk about it, that's acceptable. If you had to make a reaction to it, it's acceptable. But if you are primarily working in the client's emotional past, that means you're already crossing a boundary. So if we cannot include client's past, we cannot say our coaching is holistic. It's almost like there's a tree, we see the trunk and the branches, and there's something wrong with the tree. It seems like the tree is drying up, and we throw water at the bark of the tree, the outer side of the tree, the leaves, the branches, and we expect the tree to revive. And we know that's not where the problem is. The real problem is in the root system, like the past of the client. Therefore, we need to work with the client's past in order to help them to go through a deeper transformation, a real transformation. If you're conducting coaching, you explore current moment, help the client to move forward, then that's all right. But even ICF says that we need to work with clients' autonomy. How can we work with clients' autonomy if we do not include what has happened to the client in the past? Because what has framed, what has conditioned, what has molded the client to be who they are in their autonomy is about their past. So in my understanding, as we understand, coaching science is evolving. At the moment, although we say we do deep coaching, we integrate energetic perception, we include clients' emotion, we include clients' autonomy, I think we are doing it partially. I think I do not mean to challenge any of these coaching frameworks. I do not mean to challenge you. I mean to be honest. And I think as professionals, as academics, or as professional coaches, it's important that we address difficult questions. And this is one of them. How ethical is it for us to work with our clients without having an understanding of clients' past? Because in the upcoming slides, you will notice that sometimes we do more harm to our clients rather than really helping our clients, especially when we operate like this in a little bit of darkness. Now let's talk about one of the coaching topics very often coaches accept to work with: procrastination and burnout. Now, procrastination and burnout is not necessarily always said in those words. When your clients come to you, when they are not taking actions, they might not say that they are procrastinating. And you especially wouldn't say that you are procrastinating, because if you do that, then you are diagnosing the client. You are putting words in the client's mouth. And that is something coaches strictly don't do. And you are well aware of this. So you never say to your client that they are burnt out. Neither client is aware whether they are burnout or procrastinating. So very often client finds fatigue, challenges, difficulties, not taking actions, not following through, not being able to maintain accountability, and so on. So sometimes they might blame themselves. They might say, I am lazy, it's my weakness, I don't know how to strategize, I am not able to take actions, there's something wrong with me inherently, or they blame other people. There's a lot of things happen. They remain caged without realizing what is happening. And as a professional coach, you are very intentional in supporting the client. So therefore, you try all your coaching skills. You elevate the action orientation, the post-session undertaking. You work with the client intensely. You challenge the client. You encourage the client. You set very strong accountability measurements. And then the client comes next week, the client hasn't achieved. So we find the client going in circles and circles. When you came to the coaching profession, you did not think, I just want to help the client from their present moment to the future. You didn't think that. You thought, I want to holistically, integratively, deeply help the client. And then as you started learning coaching, you learned, oh, this is a boundary. I can't go back in the client's past. So you accepted and agreed to work with clients present and help them to move forward into the future, which is great. And many people absolutely can gain benefit from that. But you notice then our coaching is on the surface level. Even ICF says it shouldn't be on the surface level. It should be on the person level, the autonomy level. Coach the person. We hear this very often. But the problem is, how can we work with the person when we are not able to work with the whole person? Because we are unaware. We are operating blindly. And that's why very often when clients say, this is my weakness, I don't know what's wrong with me, I might be lazy because I'm binge watching TV, I'm just doom scrolling, I'm distracting myself. That's just the surface level. Excuse me. The real problem is deeper. So now let's understand trauma a little bit in very simple terms. As Sundas mentioned, at the moment, I am doing a PhD in psychology. I focus on childhood trauma. Even then, I understand that my PhD is not going to be enough for me to be truly aware of all trauma and all aspects of trauma. So this just 1 hour is going to be just a very mere scratching the surface today. But I want to introduce to you something quite powerful that we are not aware of. Very often when we hear the word trauma, we think it's a difficult experience, a challenging, overwhelming experience. Indeed, yes, it is. But it's only the one side of the story. And in therapeutic world, we usually easily call it or simply call it too much happening too fast and too soon. Too much is overwhelming and too fast is rapidly happening to us. Too soon is, like Luke said, during certain developmental stages. This can happen not at the right age. We need to. It's important that we experience adversity. Don't get me wrong. It's important because it strengthens our nervous system, like Luke said. It's very important. But those challenging experiences need to happen to us, or we need to go through certain stresses in life at the right developmental time. So this is what we call overwhelming of trauma, one side of the story. But on the other side of the story, there is also something very important, which is not having enough for too long. Later, if there is enough time, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. Lux is my sister, as many of you know. I'll tell you about our story a little bit. Now, we come from a background of poverty. We come from a background of mental illness, quite literally. So sometimes we didn't have all the means when we grow up. When we grew up, we didn't have all the nurturing care. Sometimes there was so much of love. Sometimes it was very chaotic. So we didn't receive our developmental needs when we grew up. And that's the reason why we are very passionate about this subject. That's why we are deeply learning about this subject, sharing our message. It's not because we need a livelihood. And also when you didn't receive right nurturing, caring for long enough, then it becomes encoded in our nervous system. Therefore, it becomes traumatic. Let me give you a simple example. Have you ever seen a friend of yours, someone you know, when they are in a relationship, they become very obsessive, they become very disorganized, they become very insecure, and they try to cling to their partner very strongly? Or have you come across someone when there is someone who is interested in them, instead of really co-creating a secure relationship, they run away from them? There is passive aggressiveness in the relationship. I want, but I don't want. You come close to me one step, I take two steps. And if you took two steps back, I take a step forward. So there is this kind of tug of a war of relationships. Do you know where they come from? Well, Luke's mentioned earlier, within the first 1,000 days of the child are the most important time. If the child was neglected during this time, when I say neglect, it's not about having nannies. It can be 6 nannies. I work with individuals who say, oh, I had 6 nannies, Fernando. I had a mansion to myself. I had all my needs are fulfilled. That's what they think. They had all the physiological needs. They felt safe, or at least they had the environment that looked like safe, but they grew up with nannies. Or perhaps they had a parent who was absent. They had a parent who was having challenging mental experiences. Certain period of time, they didn't receive the right nurturing care. For an example, if you come to think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, physiological needs perhaps fulfilled, safety needs perhaps fulfilled. How about love and belonging needs? How about self-esteem needs? How about self-actualization needs? Like Luke said, it's not when we are an adult, we need to have our self-esteem needs met. We also need to have these needs met even as a child, the whole person. Therefore, when we have not received enough, and when we have not received enough for long enough, unfortunately, it becomes traumatic. And we call that deprivation. So you notice the overwhelming experiences can be trauma, intense, abruptive, invasive experiences. They often immediately look like fight, flight, freeze, or dissociation outcomes, but they go way deeper. Usually, the experiences can be a car accident, sexual or physical assault, being placed in foster care, having relocated even as an adult, having religious trauma, someone being persecuted, incarcerated, a family member is addicted to a substance, and the list goes on. And when we focus on not enough for too long, it's chronic deprivation, especially in the early life. It's related to attunement, safety, love, validation, nourishment, and protection. Often, when we experience this, we end up developing shame, unworthiness, identity fragmentation. And very often when we talk about trauma, we think it's fight and flight response, freeze response, depression, anxiety, PTSD. But the truth is, when we have experienced long-term trauma, multiple trauma, it truly affects our sense of self. Coach the person, coach the autonomy. The identity itself is fragmented, or our identity is not what we feel fully grounded with. How many of your clients have ever told you that they feel like a fraud? Do you believe I work with billionaires? I work with multi-millionaire business owners. I work with politicians. I work with royal families. Do you know, even these people tell me that they feel like a fraud with all the money in the world, with all the fame in the world, with all the qualifications behind their name. It's not because of these external realities. It's because of these internal realities, the unfulfillment, worthiness, in connectedness, that their identity has not formed fully. So therefore, when your identity has not, autonomy has not fully formed, or when it is fragmented, we feel like a fraud. It's a natural experience. So what is trauma? This is my terminology of trauma, because when I look at many clinical definitions, I notice, as a clinician I'm speaking, they are very symptom management focused, because that's what can be covered within standard psychotherapeutic frameworks, and most importantly, insurance frameworks. So it cannot encompass a wider range of what trauma is. But I would like to be honest in how I show up. I do not show up here just as a coach or just as a psychotherapist. I show up here as a survivor of trauma, as a human being. So what is trauma? Trauma is what happens when an experience or ongoing condition overwhelms person's nervous system, leaving them unable to feel safe, supported, and regulated, forcing not just only mind and the emotion, but also the body to adapt. So we end up prioritizing survival, like that cat trying to survive, like the children of the Holocaust survivors staying activated longer. We've prioritized survival over truly the growth. And that is why sometimes our clients are unable to break through and achieve the life that they dream of. And that is why sometimes ourselves, as practitioners, unable to establish our business practice. And that's why sometimes we feel limited in achieving our dreams. So in order for us to understand trauma, we need to understand the aftermath of trauma, which is often what we call trauma responses. Trauma happens once or few times or over a period of time. But the outcome of it is the real whisperer, unconsciously whispering in your ear how to behave, what to do, how to feel. It's not always about just worthiness. It's not always about having life debilitating challenges. It's also when you're at the airline counter, when your flight is late, you know that the airline staff is not capable of providing you with solution. This can be at the airline, this may be at your 5-star hotel, but sometimes you lose your temper. And while you have checked into the room later, or while you are on the plane, you think, that's unlike of me. Why did I lose it? It's because an unconscious trauma response overwhelmed your nervous system. Therefore, you responded to that overwhelm rather than you acted cognitively. Your cognition was surpassed, overwhelmed, taken over by the overwhelm of your nervous system. So that you are starting to recognize you were not consciously thinking, let me now say something hurtful to this person at the airline counter. No, you did not want to do that. It was unconscious. That is why later on you regret it. So trauma shows up in such small ways, because at that time, what happened to you was it threatened, although not literally, because our nervous system doesn't understand literal words. You can't tell trauma, your nervous system, oh, this is not life-threatening. Every stress, the body braces for life threat. Therefore, it reacts. And what it is about is it's unconscious. Look at this situation. A little child, not even really physically hurt. A dog barked very aggressively. The child became very scared. And this scared movement was stored in the child's brain, nervous system, even body and the DNA. And then later when the child grew up to be a man, when there's a pet dog, the man goes into this similar response or in different ways. The man is not able to really be aware consciously that this is happening, this is nothing dangerous to me. They act as if it is that if the danger is present. And this is unconscious. If you recall at the beginning of this talk, I told you that our conscious mind is a small part of who we are. Our unconscious mind dictates what we do in this world. The more we are able to make our unconscious, especially challenging, difficult experiences, and make them conscious and heal from them, work with root causes, the more we can make conscious and less activated, less triggered through the stimuli that is in our world. We, although feel like we live in a safe world, it is true that we live in a safe world. But when our ancestors came from jungles, forests, into the urban cities like Bangkok, we still brought that the survival need, the processing threat all the time we felt in the forest to this world, the urban forests. In urban forests, we don't have falling off cliffs that easily or predators chasing us or uh, natural elements threatening us. But like Luke said, that toxic relationship, that toxic colleague, getting late to the bus or your car is stuck in the traffic, those are the stresses, modern stresses that trigger us so that we continue to show up with our trauma responses. So earlier I told you, what are some challenges you're experiencing? What are some challenges your clients experiencing? So if you see any of these simple classic trauma responses we can discuss in a PhD, not enough, right? So fight, flight, freeze response, anger, irritability, disappointment, anxiety, fear, panic, immobilization, depression, isolation. These responses you have heard. Perhaps you are noticing some of these in your client. Because these are unconscious, they can't talk their way out of it. It's not that easy. We need to keep that in mind. It's very important. So sometimes I have come across friends, sometimes coaches. When I supervise, when I mentor, some coaches tell me, Fernando, I don't understand. This is so simple. We have discussed this 100 times. They just simply can't break through. What is wrong with them? Oh, that shows that we are operating blindly. It shows how unaware we are when we become agitated and frustrated. It also means some trauma response in us is activated. It shows that we do not know how to fully work with our clients. And this other response that some of you might have heard, but many haven't, the phone response, the people-pleasing behavior, not being able to say no, hurt themselves, put all their tasks aside, help other people. And self-harming tendencies. Now, when this happens, I'm not talking about chronic, severe conditions. Have you worked with a leader who says, oh, or again, my team wasn't able to do it. Therefore, I stayed up until 3 a.m. I got it done. I understand. They have children, she's pregnant, he's sick, so I did it. At their own cost. You notice that they go to hospital a few times a month. They are fatigued, but they still do it. You notice that when they do that, this is self-harming. This is phone response. And imagine you might have come across a client who says, around my parents, around my partner, around my colleagues, around my supervisor, I walk on eggshells. What they are really telling you is that perhaps as a child, they grew up in an environment where someone modeled that behavior. Perhaps their mother or even the father walked on eggshells because there was someone in the family who was aggressive, who was toxic. So now they, as an adult, modeling that same behavior. They are telling you a story by not telling you a story. And that's what very often in coaching we say undercurrent of what client is sharing. But if you do not know how to listen, if you do not know what to listen, you wouldn't know that there is even an undercurrent story to begin with. So, common trauma-related drivers. So earlier I told you that procrastination, burnout seemed like they are doom scrolling, binge watching, or laziness, that they simply can't do something. Actually, what is happening is it's anticipated shame and criticism. Maybe they grew up in an environment where there were too many expectations. Perhaps there were too much responsibility that they had to take as a child. So this, I think, is the time to tell you my story a little bit. But this story not begins just here. The story begins even before I was born, when my mom was just 5 years old. Please brace with me now, because this story might be powerful for some of you in terms of intensity. When my mom was, when my grandmother was, when my mom was 5 years old, with another four siblings, my grandmom and them and her husband, my grandfather, lived very comfortably. We are from Sri Lanka. And when my mom was 5 years old, her father, my grandfather, was an railway engine driver. He was a driver for trains. You would imagine about 63 years ago, being a railway engine driver is a wonderful, very highly regarded position, and they were well to do. And one day, my grandmom walked into her bedroom and found a letter. And that letter started by saying, "My dear Leela, I'm an unfortunate man that I will not be able to spend the rest of my life with you. Please take care of the children." And that was my grandfather's suicide note. And before his body arrived at my grandmom's house, where they were living together in my grandfather's house, they were kicked out. My grandmother and four of my mom's siblings and my mom were kicked out. And they had to live in a little shack right by the side of the railway lines. Once, the sound of the trains used to be music to my grandmom, and then it became a nightmare. So that's where my mom started her childhood. At a crucial time when she should be cared for, she experienced devastating trauma. She was physically assaulted and she went through deep poverty. So she grew up to become a woman with severe complex PTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And now, as a psychologist, I can look back and diagnose all my mom's conditions. But as a child, I had no idea. Like I said, one day my mom was this angel of a mom, and one day she was chaotic. And on the other hand side, my father is the youngest of his family, and unfortunately, he did not receive nurturing care growing up. He didn't know how to process emotions. And my father's love of life has always been my mom. So when his love of his life was so chaotic, he didn't know what to do. Therefore, he became very distant. He became he became absent. So we grew up with a chaotic mother, unfortunately, and an absent father. So we grew through poverty as well. We had many challenges and difficulties because of these situations of our parents. But today, because they have taken this role, like Luke said, if you want to save the world, go love your family. And that's exactly what we have done. We have been on a long journey of healing. My mom and dad are very healthy. We talk to them every day. And soon they come to Thailand, or we travel internationally every year. In fact, we are bringing them to Thailand in a week's time. And I can't wait for that. Because we have healed. So when we grow up in these environments, very often we get somehow encoded with trauma. And it creates damaged safety, self-worth. It took me a long time to stop drinking alcohol. I used to drink alcohol almost every night, about half a bottle of vodka. If some of you know me, I have been in Thailand for about 10 plus years. Perhaps if you have seen me, I'm a different person compared to 7 years ago. It's because there was problems with self-worth. I did not feel safe in my body. Fear of exposure, rejection. When our parents rejected us, when our educators rejected us, we carry that to our adult life. We find it difficult to make that one call, find it difficult to share our powerful message why we do coaching. I have struggled with that. And beyond that, when people are struggling with things like procrastination and burnout, we call it nervous system flop, collapse response. If not, if I talk about it more clinically, it's called tonic immobility. It means your nervous system goes into a paralysis that naturally, quite literally, you cannot take actions. It is the true reality. So there you are. When there is procrastination, burnout, not every procrastination, it can also be acute, but most procrastination and burnout can be a result of our traumatic experiences. So it's automatic. There's nothing you can do as a coach, really. Or if you help them, very little truly you can help. It's not something they chose. So it's not something that they can choose out. It's not something they can opt out. It is the learned thread that's surfacing. What they are saying by saying I'm doom scrolling, I am binge watching TV is not that I don't want to do my work. You are trained, you have a degree, you're professionally qualified to do it, but why are you not doing it? It's because doing it triggers danger. And it's an instinct that we have in our body that we can't surpass consciously. Once again, our conscious awareness is very small in comparison to our unconscious elements that truly drive us. So again, don't get me wrong. Not every trauma response requires intervention from a clinician, like a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist. Now, that range we call impaired range, clinical range, when the individuals are not able to proceed with their work and people are not able to do their studies, social context is disrupted. Then we call it clinical range, requires a clinical intervention. And then on the other side, sometimes people are in the same accident. One person goes into deep freeze, anxiety, and the other person just walk away as if nothing happened. The other side, then we call it adaptive zone. The person who became almost frozen, that they can't integrate back to the normal life, is a clinical range. And the person who got up and walk away is in the adaptive zone. Our nervous system also has the capacity to learn quickly, adapt to it, and continue to it. And that is important. That is what we call post-traumatic growth. And it can happen in all ranges. When we are able to see the root cause, reprocess trauma, regulate nervous system, and heal our nervous system, we go to a state which we call post-traumatic growth. And there's something in between, which is subclinical. Very often, unofficially, we call high functioning. We have challenges, yet we are able to operate. We sometimes keep these things down somehow, pressed down. And you would imagine that can be even more dangerous. So remember, I ask you, what are some challenges persisting with your clients? And what are some challenges persisting with you? Perhaps now you're seeing some light, some insight there. So, like Luke said, if you would like to save the world, very often we think it's the responsibility of the politicians, leaders. In my belief that the change that we want to see in the world comes from within each individual. So as I continued my academic journey, I was taking a postgraduate degree a few years ago in psychology as well, applied psychology, and I noticed that there are very few frameworks out there for psychotherapists and clinicians focusing on trauma care. Then I started becoming curious about coaching, and I noticed actually there isn't a strong, viable, evidence-based, peer-reviewed competency framework. So my way of changing the world is when I see a gap in the world, stepping into that space. Therefore, as my thesis, I decided to create a comprehensive trauma-informed coaching competency framework, and it was very well received through my academic process. It's peer-reviewed, evidence-based, and I completed in June 2025. And I call it Comprehensive Trauma-Informed Coaching Competency Framework. And in my little knowledge, I believe it's the world's pioneering framework, CTICC. When I created it, I decided to align it with ICF Competency Framework, considering ICF Competency Framework is the world's most recognized competency framework. Therefore, just like the team coaching model, what I did was I aligned trauma-informed competency directly with the ICF framework. So ICF says demonstrates ethical practice. And my framework, CTICC, is demonstrating ethical practice as a trauma-informed reflective practitioner. And created all 8 competency directly aligned with ICF. Yet there was one competency that I simply couldn't integrate anywhere within the ICF 8 competency. So I decided to integrate a 9th separate competency, a foundational knowledge of trauma and trauma-related disorders. It's not about operating in the therapeutic space. It's about knowing what to look for and when to refer, how to acutely regulate the client, how not to cross a boundary. When I started creating this framework, initially started sharing the message, people said, Fernando is encouraging people to go in a therapeutic direction while we are not qualified. Now, that's not what I was trying to do. That's not what I'm doing. I'm inviting us to recognize what our boundaries are. When we recognize our boundaries, then we are able to maintain them rather than crossing over them. We cross over boundaries simply when we don't know. So knowledge is power. Being informed is important. So once again, I would like to remind you, why trauma-informed coaching? Because it only integrates clients present to the future, but with the focus of, in traditional frameworks, here and now to the future. In trauma-informed coaching, we are able to integrate clients' past, make meaning, understand and interpret what is happening to the client. So this we can call to a certain extent holistic. Even this framework doesn't guarantee fully holistic coaching, unlike if you are aware of the development of a child, because we all have been a child. No one just fell off the sky, right? So you're starting to recognize words like integrative, holistic have deep depths that we need to understand, we need to be aware of. Let me very quickly, as my very last sharing today, walk you through just a big quick summary and few insights. Now you know that most adults carry some level of unresolved trauma, and they can be ourselves, they are also our clients. Trauma shapes behavior before cognition. Responses are unconscious. You learn that now. Trauma-informed coaching protects ethical boundaries and it creates harm reduction. And I'll talk to you about that in a minute. What I mean by it protects boundaries and creates harm reduction. Without trauma awareness, it's unintentionally we traumatize our clients, re-traumatize our clients. What do I mean by that? If you simply think about the clients who feel fearful to take actions, what is really happening in them? They are qualified to do it. They have been doing it, but they feel like a burnout or a procrastination all of a sudden. What is happening is some of the neural networks, synapses that they have created during the traumatic experience are now reactivated somehow when there's a trauma present. Perhaps too much work. This work is not the trauma. It triggers trauma from the past. That means they're experiencing anxiety. If you look at anxiety from neurological perspective, neuroscientific perspective, what anxiety really means, overactive set of fearful neural networks looping. Because our fear center in the brain, amygdala, is activated, it says, get yourself to safety, get yourself to safety. It's repurposing those networks that were established when they experienced the trauma. This is what we call anxiety, not the diagnosis, the neurological perspective. So if you challenge the client, if you set strong set of actions, very strong set of accountability, and keep asking the client in circles and circles, you are reiterating, you are reintegrating those fear networks. And that's what we call re-traumatizing. And that is literally damaging to the client. So when you know this, you know when to refer, you know how to refer. So you see, becoming trauma aware is not operating in the therapeutics. It's knowing when to stop, because traditional coaching cannot solve all problems. Although sometimes I see some coaches tend to operate like coaching can solve every problem in the world. In fact, it's time for us to recognize coaching is a very surface level practice. If you're talking about deep coaching, if you're talking about root cause based coaching, if you're talking about autonomy focused coaching, coaching the person, that type of coaching need to be trauma informed. And like I said, coaching is goal achievement focused. And I see some coaches are trained in such a way, life or death goal achievement. But trauma informed coaching is not about always goal achievement. It's also about understanding and acceptance. I think although ICF doesn't directly communicate it within the competency framework, it's somehow there. But unfortunately, because our coaches are not trauma aware, very often this competency number 8 becomes something so strong that we end up sometimes harming our client instead of reducing harm reduction. And you notice that it is integration of the past that trauma-informed coaching enables, which is very important. It's not about psychotherapy. It's not about you acting as a psychologist. It's about knowing the boundaries. It's about having a good understanding and supporting the client meaningfully, reducing harm. Most coaching topics are trauma adjacent. If you're thinking this need to be people with relationship problems, this is people who are integrating grief, not the case. Your executive coaching clients, your leadership coaching clients, your business clients, they do have trauma responses. Because we are focused on actions, because we are focusing on the surface level, very often they do not come up. But most coaching is trauma adjacent. So we understand not just only from a cognitive perspective. When you become trauma aware, you understand things from a psychological, neurological, energetic perspective. I don't believe trauma-informed coaching is just a specialization. I believe that trauma-informed coaching needs to be the foundation of all coaching. I believe every professional coach needs to have some level of trauma-informed coaching. And I also believe that is the direction of coaching. With that, I love sharing this message because I have deeply experienced trauma. I have come a long way healing them myself. And today I accompany my clients through a journey of healing. I'm very passionate about this subject. This is not just a living for me, this is life itself. This is my calling. I found my place. I found my purpose. So currently, I share a series of lectures once a month, 90 minutes. And this has been going on for 4 weeks now, 4 months now. 4 sessions are done, but they are all recorded and available in the e-learning platform, our e-learning platform. And it is absolutely complimentary. Not only you can invite just anyone. You can invite your loved ones if you like. I discuss it not just from technical terms. I discuss technical terms, but starting from very simple terms so that everyone can understand. If you like, I'm happy to, as you see, there's the QR code on the screen. Feel free to scan that and fill out the request. We are happy to extend you an invitation. And in case if you are not able to scan it, feel free to reach out to ICF Bangkok chapter, and I'm happy to share this link to registration page to ICF Bangkok chapter. They can share this with you. And I call this series Trauma Informs Love. How trauma informs love. And beyond that, as you are already aware, Ignite Global is a coach education provider. We deliver ICF level 1, 2, 3, focusing on all comprehensive credential levels. And also, like you heard from Lux, the child adolescent development, trauma informed coaching, psychedelic integration, executive coaching, group and team coaching, organizational development. We do a lot of work. If you aspire to continue to grow in depth as a professional coach, you are very welcome to find out about my organization, Ignite Global 360, and we welcome you if you would like to continue to grow and develop together with us. And also, I'm expanding my office at the moment. We are creating a large center with a big studio, several therapy and coaching rooms at Habito Mall in Sukhumvit 77. And the name of this new venture is called Ignite Relationship Studio. And we believe every relationship begins within. This is a center for human connection, personal development, and healing. We use psychotherapeutic, coaching, psychosomatic, energetic practices, bringing together to create healing and development for our clientele. If you know anyone who could benefit from this kind of services, please feel free to share this message with your community. With that, I would like to once again thank all of you for spending this morning with us. And my hope is that you are walking away with some inspiration, some insight that would empower you, empower your client, and most importantly, empower your loved ones. With that, thank you so very much, colleagues, for being here. We deeply appreciate your presence today. And also, we look forward to welcoming you to Ignite Global Professional Community if you would wish to. And finally, I would like to sincerely thank ICF Bangkok chapter. Has been an integral journey for me as a professional coach, expanding my practice in Thailand as a foreigner. ICF Bangkok chapter has always welcomed us with much respect, and we are so deeply grateful for that. Thank you so very much. And also thank you for the recognition for being a resource speaker for this session. I sincerely thank all the executive team of ICF Bangkok chapter as well as ICF community. With that, thank you once again. Keep in mind, trauma is human experience and trauma informs love. Thank you very much. I see that Raja is raising your hand. Sundas, I'll hand it over to you with thanks to you as well, Sundas. I will invite you to decide how you'd like to take these calls and questions if there may be any.
Thank you so much for the such a powerful, session, and then sharing your story as well. Every time I listen to it, it just puts me back into that state. Thank you so much. We do have a couple of questions. There's already one in the chat box. I'll get started with that if that's okay, and then we'll go to Raja Jabir. So there's one that says, what methods exist for identifying and measuring trauma? For example, the ACE questionnaire.
Yeah, there are so many screening methodologies. And then also when it comes to identifying trauma, there are many different types of stressor-related disorders. So in the clinical framework, so I'm not now talking about coaching frameworks, right? When you say identifying trauma, it is not something that can be within a coaching framework, because identifying automatically invites diagnosis. So when it comes to diagnosis, if not when it comes to recognition, where what are certain challenges patients clients are experiencing, we have two frameworks. One is called DSM-5, Diagnostics and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders. The other one is ICD-5, International Classification of Diseases. Usually these are used by mental health care professionals like clinical psychologists. This is like my Bible. And then ICD-11 is used by medical doctors most of the time, and also clinicians. As psychologists, we use it as well. So there are specific criteria that needs to be met by the client or the patient. That's when we are able to recognize this is a specific disorder. So for an example, it could be stressor-related disorder. It could be depression, it can be anxiety, it can be PTSD, ASD, CPTSD, and so on. It doesn't lie within coaching frameworks. It's beyond. It's in the clinical realm.
Thank you so much. I'll take Raja Jabir's question.
Thank you so much, and thank you for a great session. I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of everyone here, how deep it was and how touching it was, especially when you shared your story. And I'm so happy to hear that the ending was good and that they were able to recover, and you as a family as a whole recover. My question is around generational trauma, as was mentioned, and how it can be part of your trauma, even though it's in the subconscious, you're not aware about it. Does healing, when your parents heal from that trauma because it's coming to you from them, does it by any reason somehow heal a part of your trauma as well, seeing them recovering? And what advice would you give a family to understand what type of trauma they're having as a whole, and that's causing, like weird dynamics between them, that they might have thought like that parent is difficult, but in reality, no, that parent was suffering from trauma, and that's the only way they know how to express. Yeah, that's my question. I hope I made sense.
You certainly do, Raja. So several layers to your question. First of all, thank you for celebrating with me our healing. We are still healing together, but thank you. So healing is possible. To answer your questions, how are generational trauma, intergenerational, transgenerational trauma is passed on? In many ways. First, through behavior, as Lux was talking about, behavior, and also emotional cues. Now we have something called mirror neurons. Now, if I waved my hand like this, you're not waving your hand, but part of your brain that is responsible for motor control is activated, whether you like it or not. So there's an energetic transference that happened between us. It's very nuanced. So emotionally, behaviorally, energetically, and environmentally, traditionally, culturally, trauma can be transferred. That is one way. And then also beyond that, like the cat example, like the Holocaust survivors' children example, directly through epigenetics also the trauma can be transferred as well. So you inherit trauma. So trauma can be an inheritance. Not only trauma, sometimes you know that we also inherit how our parents, families are successful, celebrate, grow, how they love as well. Kindness, compassion, we inherit them as well. This is not all about trauma. We inherit our parents' being, parents' ways of doing things, including trauma. So trauma can be transferred both environmentally, emotionally, behaviorally, energetically, as well as through DNA as well. And your question, when you heal, your parents heal. When your parents heal, you heal. And that is very, very true. Because like Lux was mentioning earlier, if the parent is healing, recognizing, creating the right psychoeducation, going to a psychotherapist, learning about trauma, taking certain actions by themselves, when they are starting to heal themselves, their approach changes, how they communicate changes, how they regulate, co-regulation changes. It changes our demeanor, it changes us energetically. So that automatically, like it induced trauma earlier, behavior, communication, emotion induced trauma, also it induces healing as well. There's a very strong transference and countertransference. We exchange what happens to us when we are close together as a family unit, not only as a family unit, even as friends, even as communities, we can heal together. And I believe today this was a healing moment for all of us as well. So that's how it happens. And beyond that, it's also important that we recognize certain trauma is stored in the body. It's not just mind and emotion that we can think our way through. Therefore, you require a specific intervention. Perhaps that is going to a psychotherapist, perhaps going to a psychiatrist, going to a trauma-informed coach, engaging in a healing modality. There are powerful modalities like psychedelic integration that I specialize on predominantly. So there are many modalities that can help you. It can also help spiritual-based, faith-based practices as well. So there are so many ways you can do. When you combine them all together is when the most powerful healing truly happens. And that's why what Sundar said earlier, I'm an eclectic psychotherapist. That means I bring all different modalities together to work with my clients. Having guidance is important. Having right compassion is important. Right supportive environment is important. Being able to go back to a safe environment is important. Having time to reflect is important. Being able to take time off is important. So there are so many elements that we need to be aware. And beyond what you said, Raja, I would also like to say that when you heal yourself, you are not only healing mentally, emotionally, behaviorally, communication-wise, and emotionally, you also heal through your DNA, so that when you have your children, you pass on a healthier set of DNA and you pass on a healthier behavior through your interactions, through communication, emotional regulation, and energetic transference. So yes, and that's what we call cutting codes. And you often hear often in therapeutic spaces, spiritual spaces, people say breaking away from generational trauma, right? Healing generations through healing trauma. It also means that you carry your ancestors' DNA. You are nothing but your ancestors' DNA, which means that DNA that is in your body, you are healing. Although they might have passed, you are healing their DNA and you are passing on to your children more healed DNA. This is a wonderful question. Thank you for asking. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sundas. I see Coach Hong Yok has lifted her hand. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, we've got another question. I'm going to request Coach Honyuk to be unmuted. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this insightful session, Coach Fernando and Coach Luke, for sharing your expertise with us. I truly appreciate the invaluable perspective and learning today. And as we are all ICF coaches here in this room, I would love to ask from your perspective, and as you are the ICF MCC as well, how can coaches appropriately communicate or address trauma-related topics with clients, especially when they may not have specialized expertise in this area? How can we navigate this in the way that aligns with ICF standards, maintains ethical boundaries, and ensure that we are supporting clients responsibly? Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So, Coach Hong Yok, thank you for your kind words. It's such a pleasure to be here and share this message with you. And as an MCC and also as an ICF coach specific education provider, very closely working with ICF, I would like to share with you that ICF is a very open-minded organization, and I am really very proud of our umbrella organization, ICF. So when we submitted this coaching framework to ICF, as we have a very comprehensive trauma-informed coaching program, advanced practitioner program, which Sundas mentioned that she has been through. This is an ICF accredited program. That means ICF sees the value of trauma-informed coaching. Now, what Coach Hongyok asked is a very responsible question. The short answer to your question, how can professional coaches ethically address trauma with your clients? The short answer is you do not address trauma with your clients unless the professional coaches are trained in trauma informed work, because we need to have a deeper knowledge in order to work with our clients. Even as a psychotherapist, we do not directly address trauma with clients. There's a very subtle, compassionate way of helping clients to interpret their own trauma when they are ready to work with. And also the coaches that we train, they do not directly address trauma. When they notice trauma responses, they invite the client to be met with the right professional guidance, in this case, clinical care. That's what our trauma-informed practitioners do. Now, when it comes to trauma integration, perhaps if the client is interpreting them, helping the client to go through that process, inviting the client's past into the coaching session. If the client is finding certain things difficult within the session, helping them to acutely regulate, those are certain things a trauma-informed coach could do. And one thing that you would come to learn if you are deeply learning about trauma-informed coaching, especially this CTICC framework, you would learn when you are more aware of the CTICC framework, you become ever more ethically aligned with the ICF ethical guidelines and core competency frameworks rather than deviating from it. Imagine that. I notice coaches, those who have only the knowledge of competency framework and ICF guidelines, often they might deviate into deviate through a boundary because they are unaware. The more we become unaware, the more we become ethical. The reason we also very deeply learn the kind of harm that could do when we are not trauma aware. So when we become trauma aware, we have so much more knowledge and ability to work with our clients in a very deeper way rather than just the traditional framework. So, Coach Hongyok, thank you very much for your question. And one addition, when you become trauma informed, you need to go a little bit beyond the ICF core competency framework. At Ignite Global, we follow three ethical guidelines: ICF core competency framework, and APA, American Psychologists Association framework, as well as BPS, British Psychological Society ethical guidelines. So our practitioners focus on all these three ethical guidelines, so not even one ethical guideline, because there are certain psychological aspects. We use APA and BPS ethical frameworks as well. Thank you for that very mindful question. And ICF is in very alignment of it. At the moment, I'm initiating a conversation with ICF, what they would like to do about this very powerful framework. And as we continue on, you will be the first one to know, because you are ICF Bangkok community and we are closely connected with ICF Bangkok chapter. Therefore, you certainly will be the first one to know as we start our discussions with ICF. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So do you think, is it safe to say that at least the coaches should have at least a little bit of foundational understanding of trauma to be able to identify that this is out of their domain and, differentiate and route it to the correct practitioner?
That is absolutely spot on, Sundas. Thank you. And like I said earlier, we are doing that 12 complimentary lecture series. So even if you join that, it would give you so much understanding. If you're joining now, you still have 4 sessions to watch online, and join me in June. Thank you, Sundas.
One last question, I think that might just help a lot of people in an executive role as well. It says that why is trauma far more common than people mostly realize, and what does that mean for anyone in a helping or leadership role?
All right. So why trauma is far more common than we think? It's not an answer that just focuses on this time, or this moment. It really is connected to the evolution of beings, evolution of human beings and other beings as well. So, colleagues, you notice that while we ask the question, what is the purpose of living? What is the purpose of we are here? That is an individual concept. But if you look at the whole, our earth, entire earth, all beings, human beings, human civilization, you notice that there's a continuation of it. Through the evolutionary process, we are developing, we are growing in certain ways, and then we are continuing our awareness, our consciousness. So you notice the agenda of life itself is continuation of consciousness. Now, while continuation of consciousness is almost existential, even some for you, maybe it's spiritual as I'm speaking. So as we continue our existence, as we continue our consciousness, we are starting to recognize we are also embodying animal, the life takes the shape of animals, and in our case, human beings. And if we did not experience pain, we will not really survive, because I'm on the 20th floor right now. See, I will just step out of this place because I wouldn't understand what pain means. I will not be able to safeguard myself. So in order for the pain to exist, there needs to be traumatic experiences. So traumatic experiences make it painful. When there is pain, we safeguard ourselves. When we safeguard ourselves, we safeguard because on one side there is pain, on one side there is pleasure. So we know in order to strive for pleasure, we want to strive for pleasure as the continuation of our consciousness. We strive for pleasure. We strive for relationships. We strive for life. We strive for making our child's world better. So we strive for love. So you notice that we are placed between pain and the pleasure. Therefore, there's a lot of things that happen to us existentially. We are placed between that. And then one more thing to add there. Very often, to safeguard us, continuation of consciousness, experience love and pleasure, we need trauma. Otherwise, we all will die out very quickly if there was no pain, right? You will just walk across the road without thinking because you don't understand pain. Therefore, we will not exist anymore. Now, why there is pain, why there is trauma? To safeguard us. But what do? Because we are unaware, because we don't know about the trauma science, because we don't follow healing, we use those difficult experiences, triggers, trauma responses to hurt each other. That's why we have wars in the world. That's why children are harmed. That's why animals are harmed. That's why our earth is harmed. So you are absolutely right when you ask that question. There is a lot of harm. There's a lot of trauma and trauma responses. It's because we are unaware. It's because we are not healing. And that's why these sessions. That's why you are here. That's why you are showing up here. So share the message. Thank you very much for that powerful question.
Thank you so much. It's been a lovely session. Such powerful thoughts came from both you and Lux, and I think it's safe to say that we ended on a very good note. Thank you so much for taking out the time today, and to everybody who showed up as well. It's been an amazing session. At least I've gotten a lot of key takeaways. We will be sharing the QR code so you can scan it and be able to register and apply for your CCEs. And later on as well, we will float out the link to the training program of Coach Fernando and Coach Lux. Just stay on for a little bit, please. And here comes the code. Also for our Thai speakers, we would be having a quick summary in Thai on our Facebook pages. Please go ahead, scan the QR code so you can make the most out of it. And thank you so much for taking out the time on a Sunday morning.
Thank you once again, Sundas. Thank you, colleagues.
We've also shared the link in the chat. For any questions or queries, you can reach out to the ICF Bangkok chapter team, and we will make sure to respond to that.